At 10:47, your phone lights up. Can you cover tomorrow? The message adds one soft sentence: you are the person who never lets us down. Your body says no before your thumb types yes. For 10 seconds, the tension disappears. They have an answer, and you still look generous. Then the cost begins traveling through the rest of your life. Sleep becomes shorter, a promise moves, and resentment quietly enters the room. The requester received your answer. But the person paying for it was never in the conversation. Maybe it is your partner, your unfinished work, or the body that must wait tomorrow. Tonight, we are going to give that missing person a chair. Every request arrives like a close-up. One need fills the entire frame. The disappointed face is visible. The competing duties are off camera. Guilt can become a camera with a dangerously narrow lens. So place an empty chair beside the person asking. Seat tomorrow's body there. Seat the promise you already made, the person already waiting, or the work only you can finish. A moral decision needs the whole room, not only the loudest voice. Suppose a colleague asks you to take another weekend shift. Saying yes may protect the team tonight. It may also break a promise to your daughter, delay a client, and make Monday unsafe through exhaustion. Kind to one person can still be careless toward another. This is not selfish accounting. It is complete accounting. Your life contains overlapping promises, limited energy, and people who cannot all be first at the same time. Maturity is not caring less. It is refusing to hide the cost of care. There is a reason no can feel physically difficult. Across 6 studies, Flynn and Lake found that people asking for help underestimated how often others would comply. One reason was simple: askers did not fully appreciate the social discomfort of refusing. Pressure does not require a villain. It can exist inside an ordinary request between decent people. The asker sees the practical problem your yes would solve. You feel the relational cost of your no. Those two costs meet inside one small pause. That is why refusal feels like an action, while sacrifice disappears into the background. They can hear no. They cannot see the sleep, promise, or concentration your yes would consume. Visibility is not the same as moral importance. A 2024 study found that people often overestimated how badly an inviter would react when they declined an everyday social invitation. The imagined anger, rejection, and damage were often larger than the inviter's reported reaction. Fear can be sincere and still make a poor forecast. But do not turn that finding into permission to abandon every plan. The research focused on ordinary invitations, not emergencies, milestone events, repeated rejection, or promises you already accepted. A boundary without context can become another form of carelessness. So treat guilt as a signal, not a sentence. A signal asks for investigation. A sentence announces that the case is already closed. Before obeying the feeling, ask what actual harm you caused. Guilt can be morally useful. Large cross-cultural research shows that awareness of consequences can increase pro-social choices. If you broke a promise, neglected a dependent person, or shifted danger onto someone else, discomfort may be asking for repair. Do not call every conscience a people pleaser. Yet guilt can also narrow the moral frame. In 2 3-person experiments, guilt shifted help toward one harmed person while costs fell on a third person or on the helper. The feeling noticed one relationship and temporarily forgot the rest of the room. That is the heart of the empty chair test. A feeling can be honest and still incomplete. Compassion can be real and still point at only one person. Wisdom widens the frame before action begins. Stoicism does not solve this by making you cold. The Stoics saw human beings as social creatures with duties to family, neighbors, colleagues, and community. A philosophy of automatic no would be as shallow as a life of automatic yes. Epictetus wrote that duties are measured by relations. As a parent, friend, employee, neighbor, or citizen, you do not owe the same action in every moment. The loudest request is not automatically the highest duty. Elsewhere, Epictetus asked us to be useful without surrendering fidelity and honor. His standard was whatever you can hold with the preservation of your fidelity and honor. Usefulness that makes you faithless to every other promise eventually destroys its own foundation. Seneca pushed the question into the act of giving itself. Let us give willingly, quickly, and without any hesitation, he wrote. A resentful yes may get the task done, but it does not contain the spirit of a benefit. Modern research reaches a similar distinction through motivation. Across for studies, helpers and recipients fared better when help came from choice rather than pressure or control. That mattered not only for helpers, but also for recipients. The goal, then, is not fewer acts of care. It is fewer counterfeit yeses, so the help you do give can be clean, chosen, and present. A truthful no protects the quality of your next truthful yes. Now separate cruelty from disappointment. Cruelty uses contempt, humiliation, punishment, manipulation, or the careless breaking of a duty you truly own. Disappointment is often just another person meeting a limit they did not choose. Someone may be sad when you say no. Their sadness is real. But emotion is not an invoice proving that you committed an injustice. You can care about the feeling without purchasing its disappearance. There are moments when the empty chair points toward yes. A child depends on you, a patient is unsafe, a true emergency exists, or you freely made a promise that is now inconvenient. A boundary is not a moral halo. Sometimes integrity requires staying. Now use the empty chair test on a real request. First ask, who is asking, and what do they actually need? Separate emergency from preference, necessity from convenience, and direct need from emotional pressure. Second ask, who pays for my yes? Put tomorrow's body, the prior promise, the absent third person, and your integrity into the empty chair. If the cost has no face, give it one. Third ask, what is actually mine? Look at your role, your explicit commitments, your capacity, and the consequences only you can prevent. Not everything you can carry is yours to carry. The test produces 3 honest answers. True duty deserves a wholehearted yes. Chosen generosity deserves a free yes. Borrowed obligation deserves an honest no. At work, the honest answer may sound like this. I cannot cover Saturday. I can finish the handoff notes by Friday at 4. The sentence protects the team without inventing a second weekend. With family, the answer may hold both love and a clock. I can listen for 15 minutes. I cannot solve this tonight, but we can identify the next real step. A limit on rescuing is not a limit on love. With a friend, the cleanest no may need no invented emergency. Thank you for inviting me. I cannot make it this time, and I hope we can meet next month. Respect does not require a courtroom of excuses. When no is the right answer, deliver it through 4 moves. See, state, support, and seal. This is the honest no, warm enough to respect the person, clear enough to protect reality. First, see the person. I understand why this matters, or I can see that you are under pressure. Recognition is not agreement, and empathy is not automatic ownership. Second, state the decision in 1 sentence. I cannot take this on. I will not be available tonight. If the answer is no, do not hide it inside maybe, perhaps, or let me see. Third, support only if support is real. Offer the notes, another date, or a useful name only when you genuinely have the capacity. Do not turn one no into a new unpaid project. Finally, seal the answer. Discomfort is not an emergency. A repeated request does not require a new argument. As episode 3 taught us, repeat the boundary without reopening the trial. Tonight, find one yes that is already in your mouth while no is still living in your body. Draw 2 chairs. Write the request on one and the hidden pair on the other. Then write the duty that is actually yours, not the identity you are afraid to lose. The first episode released the outcome. The second ended the argument in your head. The third stopped the defense. Tonight, the fourth removes the counterfeit yes. Next, we will face what happens after a clean boundary, staying calm when someone gets angry. Which request deserves your wholehearted yes, and which one belongs in the empty chair? Name the answer: duty, generosity, or pressure. Then let one honest no protect the next honest yes.